Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I'm Gary, your host, and this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. And we are in Spooktober, spooky month of October, leading up to Halloween, and primarily looking at horror comics and horror themed stuff. A frog came up just after I started this, so I hope that takes care of the frog. Okay, and this time we're going to take a little look here at Dark Horse Comics, issue number 13 from 1993. And the reason this fits in with the Halloween stuff is because, well, look what we've got. Look what we've got, of course. Nice action-packed cover featuring Alien. Okay, that's right. Aliens backsplash. And then we have Predator, Bad Blood, and The Thing from Another World. Questionable research. Okay, now, at least two of those were presented as science fiction horror movies, because these are all licensed properties. Of course, original Alien, and the immediate follow-ups were definitely science fiction horror. I saw it in the theater when it first came out. It was scary. It was horror, and the same goes for all three of these movies. I saw them all in the theater when they first came out. And of course, The Thing from Another World. This is based on John Carpenter's The Thing, starring Kurt Russell. This is a follow-up to that, sequel to that, and that was also a science fiction horror movie, and it was creepy and scary, I tell you. Much more so than the original The Thing from Another World from the 1950s. And of course, they were both based on the Campbell Black story of Who Goes There, which was an excellent story I read years and years ago. Now, then you have Predator. Well, of course, Predator was played and presented as more of a science fiction action adventure movie. It was also a horror story. You see how those people were horrified with what they saw and what they experienced. So that is definitely fits into horror. So here we have, okay, Aliens Backsplash. Is part 2. This was an anthology title. And we'd have 3 stories, but each one was a continuation, multi-part. So this is part 2 of Backsplash, written by Jim Woodring, who I'm slightly familiar with from his alternative underground writing, and drawn by Killian Plunkett. And The Thing, Questionable Research. This is part 1 of, I think it's supposed to be 3, maybe 4. I've forgotten. We'll see in there. Written by Edward Martin III and drawn by Ted Naifa. I think that's how you say his name. Unfamiliar with them at all. And then the Predator story is Bad Blood part 2 of 3. Which is written by Evan Dorkin, who I'm slightly familiar with. Remember, he did alternative stuff. Milk and Cheese is what he's best known for. And art by Derek Thompson and Andy Parks. And all of the artwork is fine, is wonderfully done. And I think they seem to be fairly well written. I'm a little iffy on the Alien story, because this is only was only a 2-parter. We'll take a look here. This is very eye-catching, action-packed on this image. Now it's a two-part story. These guys, some kind of astronauts of some kind, on a planet that is inhabited by the xenomorphs. And I don't know what happened in the first part, but it's comes right in when they are being attacked on this planet by the xenomorphs, and they're fighting, and that's basically the whole thing, is trying to get out of this some kind of cave system, I guess is what it is. It's hard. This is the draftsmanship is fine, but the storytelling is very difficult to follow in this story. Go, you don't know what's happened. They're crawling out of the cave. Their jump ship is hovering, and they're calling for it to come and get them. The one guy is slightly injured, or not as competent as his buddy as far as the fighting is concerned. Who's older and more durable. He's helping him, and they're rushing. I think they're supposed to be colonial marines, and they're rushing, trying to get clear of that cave. And the jump ship comes down low to pick them up, and aliens rush out of the cave and grab the junior fella and grab him. And it looks like he's injured, and he looks like he's gonna die. The other guy jumps right in there, fights, blows the alien away. Fortunately, no acid blood splashes on him, and he helps his buddy get away. And they open the hatch and get the emergency handle that they can grab, and the senior guy, the one who's tougher and more durable, he bites it. The alien grabs him and does him in and tosses him aside as the alien is climbing up and to attack the other guy again. They seize the other aliens, ripping the first guy's body apart on the ground. While this one is right there, he manages to grab the handle, and off it goes, leaving the aliens behind. And with one last bit of defiance, the alien tosses the skull of the dead man, and it hits the ship, and off they go. And that is it. There isn't much plot or story there, and I can't imagine there having been very much in the first part, since it's only 2 parts. But then we go to The Thing. And this is a direct sequel to the John Carpenter movie. Got the burned remains of the Arctic base. Helicopter landing. They're coming down to check stuff out, and they see the frozen remains of part of the Thing. And it's frozen solid. They snatch it, put it in their helicopter, covered up, and meanwhile they're talking about what's happened, what's going on, and interpersonal stuff. But while they're loading the thing, what happens is it gets bumped against the side of the doorway at the helicopter and breaks off a tiny piece of claw, and they don't notice. The helo takes them out. They'll clear out to sea. They talk about trying to see what's happened. They got computer disks and a logbook and stuff like that. So they're going to see what happened, and they approach their landing pad on the ship that they're stationed on board. And so they get to the ship, and they go and we meet some more characters. Remember, this is part one of part one of 4. So this is just the beginning, introducing the characters. They put the Thing remains in a case to keep it frozen and stuff. Meanwhile, that little piece that broke off has thawed out and comes to life and skitters away when it is approached by a rat, and look at grabs the rat, and that's the end of the rat. Then a little bit later, we see one of the scientists out on the deck. She sees a rat approaching her, and she kicks it away, and it's and it is the Thing, and it bursts forth And that is to be continued. So we don't know what's going on. So that was all set up. And then just as we're starting to get a payoff, it's continued. Then we go to Predator. This is Bad Blood Part 2. It's Part 2 of 3. Yes, Part 2 of 3. And this takes place, I don't know what happened in the first part, but this is taking place at out in the woods someplace where they have this facility for paintball range. And these guys who are working there talking about, and you're getting exposition radio here, telling us about stuff about bodies being found in a freezer and stuff like that at somebody's house. And I think that is referring to back to the first part that we didn't see. And the guys in there talking about they got these rich two teams, rich lawyers thinking they're hot snot. And I hate these guys. They tend to abuse us all the time. They come out every year, yada, 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 and they're setting them up. And here are the two teams setting up. One of the guys, he spent a fortune on this paintball Gatling gun. And these guys like to mess around, don't like to follow the rules, and says don't take any guff from them. He's telling to the refs. So one of the refs or the judges up there, he comes out, and this is our first hint of any predatory thing. When we go, whoosh, we see this ref in the infrared vision. He turns around, hey, what? Splat, splat, splat. What is it? Oh, one of the guys the guy with that Gatling gun had just splattered him all over with paintballs, and that ticks him off. He kicks them all out of the game because of it. And they say, so the one guy with the Gatling gun, he says, the heck with him. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to go out and shoot people. And the others, they follow the judge's ruling. But then they sit there having a smoke. Said, okay, we're out of the game. We're going to see him having a smoke, and suddenly, boom, he's got no head. Here we go, flash to the infrared again. Oh my gosh! And then we hear screams, and the other guys are all away. We always see his footprints and corpses, but no one else knows about that yet. Then they're and all these guys, they're getting called to the head guy in the office doing office work, and they're calling for him. And says something's going on, and he goes, "What's going on? Told you not to bother me unless it's an emergency. What's going on?" So he grabs his radio and his dogs and rushes out to the field of play, and he sees all these corpses. Oh my gosh! One of them, the guy with the Gatling gun, is still alive, and he goes, "Help me!" And his reflexively fires the Gatling gun, and the paintballs are splattering on something that can't be seen. But then suddenly we can't see. This is our first time we actually see the Predator, and he's repeating back something he had recorded from someone else a little earlier. It says, and of course the guy is horrified when he sees this stuff because it's paint, not. I said, it's just a little paint. What are you crying about? Oh, and that is the end of that part. So, and I don't know what happens next, but I liked this book. I wasn't wholly satisfied with that first part with the alien story, but I liked the rest of it, and the art was fine in all of it, and I think all these stories would have been very interesting to have read the complete story. It's good. It's interesting. And of course, this was, as I said, Dark Horse Comics had several titles, and this one is just, it's like apparently like their flagship title, because it's just Dark Horse Comics. It's not Dark Horse Comics Presents or anything like that. So, I hope you enjoyed that. Please like, share, subscribe. Do leave your comments down below. What do you think of Dark Horse's version of Aliens, Predator, and The Thing? We'll undoubtedly see more of these at other times. But let me know what you thought of these. Have you read any of those? Have you read any of the Dark Horse comic stuff? Remember, it was Dark Horse that first started the Alien versus Predator craze. And even though that has fallen off now, hey, they had two successful movies, a whole bunch of graphic novels and prose novels as well of Alien versus Predator. So thank you for joining me. Like, share, subscribe, and remember, comics are art.